Hi, I'm Dr. Walter Matwichek, and I'm here to talk to you about REBT's unique approach in facing our worst case scenario. I recently went to Africa and I tried to abstract something that I could take home with me that would make me wiser in dealing with life. And the lesson I learned there, or at least that was strengthened there, was that adversity from birth to death is a part of the experience of all creatures. All creatures need to face the fact that survival is our first goal, and that it's something that is threatened every day in one way or another. Rational emotive behavior therapy argues that people have two basic goals. One is to survive, and the second one is to have some degree of happiness. And of course, adversity occurs and threatens our survival and our happiness. Some people face adversity, think about it, worry about it, and try to reassure themselves that perhaps the worst case scenario won't happen. From the REBT perspective, this is not the best course of action. It is far better to assume the worst case scenario, prepare for it, and hope for the best. So in rational emotive behavior therapy, we often say to people, let's assume the worst case scenario and help you cultivate an attitude that will enable you to have the strength and wherewithal to tolerate adversity if and when it occurs. Now, this rationale sometimes is a hard sell. People don't always like to accept that bad things will happen. We have a natural inclination to engineer our environment for safety, and that's all well and good, but the problem is that we can't always pull this off. And other psychotherapists, particularly in the cognitive behavioral tradition, will attempt to help you identify any distortions you may have in your thinking, that you're making an unrealistic assumption that a bad thing will happen, or that you will be uncomfortable in some way. And REBT prefers to take a tough-minded approach because we know that sometimes tragedy strikes, that it really is a matter of survival of the fittest, and sometimes our survival is threatened. And so in rational emotive behavior therapy, we encourage people to cultivate a realistic point of view that bad things will happen, and to learn how to accept them, emotionally prepare for them so that they can face their fears, and then having some confidence that they would be able to cope with the worst case scenario, free themselves to enjoy the present. And so it's not that we're trying to have a dark outlook in life. What we're trying to do in REBT is help people cultivate a philosophy that works in the real world. And there are some things that happen that we can't prevent. We can't have good problem-solving solutions to. Try as we might, bad things will happen to ourselves, our loved ones. We'll lose people in our lives. We'll face hardship, and eventually we'll face disease and death. And so REBT really encourages people to prepare in advance, much like the Stoics did, for the worst case scenario. I would encourage you to work on temporarily assuming that your worst fears may very well come to pass, and allow yourself to think about how you could have a healthy concern but not be fearful and anxious about the worst case scenario. And do this with all your fears. It may be hard at first, and you may have to work at it, but rather than sticking your head in the sand and hoping for the best and having that as your only course of action, work at empowering yourself with the philosophy of acceptance. See that it's fine to not want bad things to happen, but there's no law of the universe that says that you must be exempt from certain hardships. And work at cultivating confidence, real confidence that you can face life as it is, and this will free you then to see that you can enjoy the present, savor the present, knowing full well that life is a never-ending stream of adversity from birth to death. I think this is a great approach. I think the rationale for adopting this approach is that it works. Sooner or later, our worst case scenario will happen. And although we may get a clean bill of health today on a health scare, or we may have job security today, at some future point, our worst case scenario could happen, and thereby developing the ability to adapt to change and adversity will allow you to have some healthy peace of mind today. You will have real confidence in your ability to prevail when tested. I would also like to encourage you to attend my weekly Saturday demonstrations. They're free, they're on Zoom, they're at 9 a.m. And I teach people how to look their fears straight in the eye and cultivate a philosophy of tolerance, of strength, and acceptance that frees them so that they don't have to worry themselves sick that certain bad events won't happen. If you write to me at rebtdoctor@gmail.com, I'll be happy to send you the link. I would also encourage you to go to my website, rebtdoctor.com, and take advantage of the many free audio and video resources that exist there to help you better understand the philosophy of REBT so that you can cultivate genuine philosophical acceptance and confidence. So I hope you take advantage of my efforts to disseminate this powerful philosophy, and I hope to see you on Saturday at my weekly demonstrations. Write to me at rebtdoctor@gmail.com. Thank you for your attention.